I never thought I'd end up working in a morgue. It wasn't exactly a childhood dream, but the pay was good and the quiet was something I'd come to appreciate. Nights were the worst, though. That's when the silence felt heavier, almost suffocating. It was my 5th week on the job, and I was already settling into a routine. I'd start the shift by doing inventory, checking the body drawers, ensuring the paperwork matched, and prepping the autopsy room for the coroner who arrived in the morning. Easy enough. That night was different. The moment I stepped inside, I felt watched. The fluorescent lights buzzed faintly, their sterile glow painting everything in sharp whites and grays. The air was colder than usual, and I could see my breath fogging as I exhaled. I told myself it was just the chill from the freezers leaking out, nothing to be concerned about. But as I made my way to the locker room to store my things, I caught movement out of the corner of my eye, a shadow darting across the hallway. "Hello?" I called out, my voice echoing in the empty space. No response. It wasn't unusual for the security guard Malik to walk through during his rounds, so I chalked it up to him. But when I checked the camera feed in the office, Malik wasn't anywhere on the floor. Shrugging it off, I returned to my tasks. The inventory check was routine until I reached drawer 27. The label read John Doe, unidentified, a nondescript tag, just like the others. I slid the drawer open, revealing a pale figure covered in a white sheet, but the sheet was damp. My stomach turned as I noticed the faint trail of water dripping off the gurney and pooling on the floor. It wasn't blood, thankfully, but why was the body wet? Condensation from the freezer? Maybe the body hadn't been embalmed properly? I was about to log it in the report when I heard it, a soft, wet slap. I froze, my pen hovering over the clipboard. The sound came again, louder this time. Slap, 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 like something heavy hitting the tiled floor. I turned around slowly, dread twisting in my chest. The trail of water led away from the gurney, snaking toward the far corner of the room. But there was no one there. "Malik?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. The sound stopped, and then from behind me, I heard a raspy voice. "Help me." I spun around, heart hammering against my ribs. The drawer was empty. The body was gone. The next few minutes were a blur. I scrambled for my phone, but the screen wouldn't unlock. My hands were trembling too much. The morgue felt impossibly large and small at the same time, every shadow alive with unseen movement. The door to the cooler creaked open. I don't remember walking toward it, but suddenly I was standing in front of the gaping darkness, the cold air biting into my skin. Inside, the shelves stretched endlessly, bodies wrapped in white sheets stacked like grotesque library books. And then I saw him, the man from drawer 27. He was standing at the far end of the cooler, his head tilted at an unnatural angle, water dripping from his fingers. His eyes were wide, milky, and unblinking, locked on me. "Help me," he rasped again, his jaw barely moving. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't cooperate. He took a step forward, his bare feet slapping against the icy floor. Another step, and another. "No, no, no, no," I stammered, backing away until my shoulder hit the wall. He stopped a few feet from me, his bony hand reaching out. I thought he was going to grab me, but instead, he pointed to the floor. I looked down. There, half hidden beneath a shelf, was a photograph, yellowed and crumpled with age. I picked it up with shaking hands. It was a picture of him, standing with a woman and a little girl. "My family," he whispered, his voice barely audible over the pounding of my heart. Before I could respond, he collapsed to the floor, his body dissolving into a puddle of water. I bolted out of the morgue, not stopping until I was outside, gasping for air under the orange glow of the streetlights. Malik found me an hour later, huddled against the wall, clutching the photograph like a lifeline. I quit the next day, but sometimes, late at night, I can still hear the sound of wet footsteps echoing in my dreams.